Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Wind Down Wednesday with your boy Q, Mr. Q, on the Quiet Storm. Man, every Wednesday, 8 o'clock, I'm here for you guys, and I appreciate you guys supporting and coming through. Again, this is Wind Down Wednesday, episode 4. I got a special guest with me tonight, but I'll introduce him later. So let me get back into a little bit of kind of what my music mood has been this week, right? So as I've been hybrid working from my regular job. So lately, I had to go in the office. So my mood has changed a little bit. So I usually listen to some easy listening during the day or whatever. But this week, I've been feeling like listening to some J. Cole, the whole Dreamville, Earth Gang, Jid, Bass, all the good people from Dreamville. So shout out to J. Cole. Hopefully, you can get your boy a shout out one day. Anyway, this again is the Quiet Storm with Mr. Q. I wanted to give a shout out to my first 3 guests, man. Cooley Howe on the first show. I had Miss Levi on the second show. I had CB on the third show. And the fourth show is just going to be more explosive because, I got my man 50 grand on this joint with me tonight. But before I jump into my guest, I want to talk about a vibe killer that has been bothering me for some time, right? So I'll call this one the shadow hater. And you may wonder, what is a shadow hater? It is a person that will smile in your face, give you love, and say, hey, I appreciate what you're doing. You're doing your thing. Keep doing it, man. I appreciate it. But then turn right around and hate on you. So I want to say that I welcome that type of hate because, in essence, it looks like love because you're spreading the word about something that you hate. So hate is a strong word. We don't hate anybody here on the Quiet Storm, but I wanted to say that shadow haters do exist. So with that being said, again, I want to introduce this man because, one, he's been a mainstay in my life for like 12 years. The better part of the time that I've been here in Maryland, and he's like a big brother. Does a lot of things. I'm gonna let him introduce himself when he gets on, but he's my business partner. He's been my business partner on a couple of things. So, again, this dude, I affectionately call him Darkness because, of course, he calls me Team Light Skin. But my main man, 50 grand again, DJ Teflon Don. Welcome to the show, my friend. Come on. Hey, man.
What's going on, brother?
What's going on, family? How you feeling?
Oh, life is good. Life is good. I can't complain. Normally I'll say something outlandish when you ask me, but for tonight, we chilling, man. We chilling. For those that don't know me, I'm DJ Teflon Don, co-owner of Our Legacy Media with Q Smooth and our other partner Amanda. Um, we I figured I would finally show up since my man is doing his thing on this show, and I was like, can you get me on at least one episode, bro? So so he extended the hand, and I was happy to come on. So let's do this thing, brother.
All right, so you kind of gave a little bit of background as to who you are. Why don't you tell the people what else you do, though, man? Because you have so many things that you do. You have so many hats that you wear.
So I do wear quite a few hats. So first and foremost, I'm a DJ. I've been DJing for about 36 years now. Started very young. Um, I'm also co-owner of Our Legacy Media. I also have my own podcast on Our Legacy Media. Comes on every Tuesday. Shameless plug. It's called the Threesome Show. Um, I also am the producer on this show normally,
Hmm.
um, as well as I co-own a barbershop,
Yeah.
Upper Level Cuts and Styles. Another shameless plug, Hampton, Virginia, 606 East Pembroke. If you want to come through and holler at my barbers. Um, but so I do a lot, but honestly, I do a lot sometimes in the shadow of a lot of things that you do because you do a lot yourself. So I figured I would try to catch up, because you're like that guy. So I
Man,
figured I would catch up on some things that because I was watching you stay busy, and I was sitting in the house going, okay, what do I do next? So I tried to start staying busy, and then I got too busy. But
yeah, yeah, I'm with you. So tonight we're gonna dive into the topic of the perception of manhood in the black community for us, right?
right.
Um, there's a different stigma compared to what it was or what it's been over the last couple of years, right? So what I want to do is basically get your definition of what true manhood is. Can you define what manhood means to you?
So for me, right, I grew up with a very strong man in the household. So for me, manhood just meant taking care of your family, going to work every day, putting in a hard day's work for an honest day's pay.
Mm-hmm.
My dad always taught me, and he always instilled in me that a man makes his own way. A man goes out and he makes his own money. No one ever supports him. No one takes care of him. And even if he fails trying.
Right.
So I think a lot of that has been taken away from the image of the black man in America, because a lot of people like to look at us as being lazy and
Mm.
not taking care of ourselves, not taking care of our responsibilities. But that's not the case, because I know a lot of men who do. I know a lot of black men who do really take care of their own responsibilities and handle their own.
Okay. So to kind of piggyback off of that, since you said you grew up in a household where you had a strong male influence, right?
Hmm.
I'll tell you that my upbringing was a little different.
Okay.
I came up in a single parent home for the most part. My dad would stop by and pick me up on weekends and stuff like that. But as far as having a stable male role model in my house, it was very hard pressed to find one, right? So my definition of manhood is being able to strike out on your own and again find your way and learn the lessons of growing into that manhood and actually figuring out what it is, because at this point your mother can only do so much for you. So I mean, I'm grateful for that, that part of it. But I also realized that I grew into my manhood a little slower than most would, you know. And I think that came from actually not being able to see what it was to have that stable relationship, like between the mother and the father in the home. Um, so true manhood to me is just basically a man that actually can put his stamp on this world and make his own mark. Because one, I think that um, if any man was to go away or leave, and how would you be remembered if you left? Like
Right.
whether you die, whether you go to prison, whether you go to the military for years or whatever. What kind of legacy do you leave as a man on that household? And like, just that's the way I'm thinking about things, right? And I think that it's a it's a knock because one, for years and years and years, they've always, society's always said that the black household was broken anyway. Um, but I feel like it's not. I feel like sometimes it's overlooked because it gets broken at some point, but it was never an institution that they actually saw fit to keep pushing, right?
Right.
So, um, in a society like we're in, a man as the head of household is what we are told is supposed to happen, but usually it's a joint venture, and it's a venture that needs to happen between a man and a woman. But what are your thoughts on that part? Like, I mean, because again, our upbringing is a little different. So yours with a stable father, mine was a father that fathered on the weekends. You know what I mean?
So I'll definitely say this. I'm gonna touch on a couple of things you just said. So like a lot of people say, without a man in the household, you know, the young men in the house kind of fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
And there is some truth to that because I saw a difference in my behaviors from when my dad was in the household with us, and when my mom and dad split up.
Mm-hmm.
When my mom and dad split up, which was later on in my life, in my teenage years, um, my mom couldn't really tell me or really show me how to be a man.
Mm.
Um, so I turned to the streets on what the quote unquote man should be.
Mm-hmm.
Now, luckily for me, I did have those formative years of my life where my dad was in the house, um, and I was able to glean back on that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it was later on in my life, once I became an adult, 2021, to where all the lessons that he taught me growing up kind of came back and boomerang, and it was like, wow. So from age 15 to age 20,
Mm-hmm.
realistically, my dad wasn't really in the household with me. It was pockets of that where my mom and dad got back together, but during those pockets, he could only fix so much that had been broken,
Mm-hmm.
um because of those pockets of time where they weren't together. He wasn't in the house.
Okay.
Um as far as the black family being broken, the concept of family is broken in a lot of black households,
Mm-hmm.
because although society says a man and a woman should raise their children together, it's not always what actually happens.
Right.
So society then says if the man and the woman are not in the household, then that young man is going to grow up wrong, or that young woman is going to grow up wrong,
Mm-hmm.
because they don't have that same bond. And we've adopted what society has told us as being truth.
Hmm.
But for example, my son's mom, um, my two sons' mom, we've been able to co-parent without me being in the household with them.
Mm-hmm.
And our co-parenting has still, even though I wasn't in the household with them, I haven't been in the household with them for, you know, probably the better part of their lives, because we co-parented in a way where what I say is still law, even though I'm not in the household. And
Mm-hmm.
she made that, she impressed that upon them,
Mm-hmm.
that your dad's word is still law. We were still able to raise them the same as if we was in the same household, even though we weren't.
Okay. So so let's look at it like this then. I guess uh what did it so what kind of impressions did you get from your father being in the house, and what kind of impressions did you have when he wasn't, like in your upbringing? How did that look for you? Because again, you're saying you were able to successfully co-parent with your kid's mother, for the boys. I get that, but how did it look from your standpoint, like from your viewpoint? How did it look?
So my dad was military. My dad was ex-military.
Hmm.
So my dad ruled with the iron fist. My dad's word was definitely law. His word was the last word. There
Hmm.
was no talk back to him. There was no challenge authority at that point. What he said was it. When he left the household, it was my mom's word was a maybe or possibly. Like if she said no, it was like, okay, can I talk you out of this type situation?
Right.
Um, and when I was 15, it was nothing for me to because I grew up in New York,
Hmm.
and it was nothing for me to bounce up to Boston for a week. And when my dad was in the house, that would have been unheard of. Like my dad would have been sitting there going, "You walk out this house for a week,
Yeah,
do
you
not come back."
find another place to live, my brother. Yeah.
Right? You've
You-
pretty much evicted yourself from this household.
right.
With just my mom, My mom was trying to be a little softer because my dad wasn't there, so she didn't want to be too strict on me
Mm-hmm.
for fear of losing me to the streets. Um, and unfortunately, that happened with my brother. That he got lost to the streets. Um, but my mom was kind of trying to be softer, like, okay, look, if I let you do this, or if I make sure that you always have money, you won't go out there and do anything wrong.
Right.
But with my dad in the house, it was like, you're not going to do anything wrong because I said you're not going to do anything wrong. And if
Right.
you
Right.
do something wrong, you're going to feel the pain of doing something wrong. My mom didn't have that iron fist.
Yeah.
So that softer side, unfortunately, for a lot of young men growing up in single family households with the woman being their primary caregiver,
Mm-hmm.
they lose themselves in that lack of iron fist. Now, there's some mothers out there that have that iron fist and they wield it very well. They wield that iron
I
fist
know.
very well. What they say is law, but it's just not. It's not as common as it needs to be in a single family household.
Well, I think that, like, coming from my aspect again, my mom was the end all that be all of anything. She's like,
Right,
yo, bro, listen, first things first. You go out here to the streets, you in the streets. You go
right,
to jail, you stay in there. You get somebody pregnant, don't look at me. um, and I think that that part of it made me realize that I had to be very cautious with the things that I did, right?
right.
And the fact that she was a disciplinarian from a young age for us, because I was a troublemaker. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like I got me and my brother in so much trouble. He probably still hates me to this day because of it. But like we end up doing dumb shit. Like and like, but her discipline was like, okay, look, I'm gonna tell you this once. You keep messing up, this is what's gonna happen. But she would be a person that wouldn't hesitate to put a pause on you, son. Like, and and I'm thankful for that because unlike so many people that come up in that scenario, I never wanted for anything. I never
Right.
had a place that pushed me to go to the streets because I saw the examples of not how to not to be successful doing that. Right. I
Right.
have older cousins and neighbors and things of that nature that went that route, and I just saw the negative impacts. So um, with that, and my mom being the person that was the scariest little woman I've ever known, like like sitting there listening to her, give that talk, and like, I mean, bro, it forced me not to do anything crazy, and and I feel like I'm a better man because of it. But I also still feel like there were some lessons that were left out, and so that's why I asked you about how it looked to you versus what it looked like to me. You know what I'm saying? Um, and I feel like the lessons I learned were later in life. So by the time I was, 20, 25, whatever, I was still making those mistakes that I should have probably had already imparted in me, right?
Right.
So, um, no, I owned them because I was out on my own at that point. I was really just learning and living the mistakes. You know what I mean? And I still was able to survive though. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like the things that my mom told me always resonate. Every time I'm thinking about something, I'm like, man, I'm gonna go out here and hustle. Nah, bro, don't do it because mom Dukes ain't gonna bail you out. You know what I mean? Like, and I knew I couldn't call anybody else, so I try to keep myself on the straight and narrow for the most part. Um, and it wasn't out of fear at that point. I think it was out of respect because her growing up with me as a having me as a teenager, right? We kind of grew up together, me, her, and my brother, right?
Okay.
For the first couple of years before my sister came, it was just us. The three of us would be rolling, man. You know what I mean?
Right.
It was Bonnie and her two Clydes because we were under her. I ain't gonna spill the beans. My brother's the mama's boy though. um, um, but like literally, man. I think some of the lessons that we learn as we get into life depend on how we see things. So again, I saw strong marriages and things of that nature growing up, but it just weren't the things that I gravitated towards. I enjoyed being able to run the streets. You know what I mean? And I
Right.
think I think that kind of curves your viewpoint of manhood at some point, right?
It does.
And I mean, like I'm looking up to people that I probably shouldn't be looking up to at the time. They had all the women, they had the flashy cars, they had the money, um, and that was my thing. I just wanted to be like that. I was like, I didn't care how I got there. I was gonna get there. You know what I mean? And I just wanted to make sure that I didn't do it the wrong way. So that's my viewpoint on that. So
So
yeah, go ahead. Go
no,
ahead.
no, go. Um, so I will say, honestly, knowing you and knowing you over the last, like you said, 12 years, um, you don't carry yourself as a young man who grew up without his dad in the household. You actually carry yourself probably more dedicated to, not just dedicated to yourself, but dedicated to all of the people around you. Um, it's it's odd, like when me and you got to know each other, um, and knowing your dad wasn't in the household, it was like, yo, this dude is well put together for somebody whose dad wasn't in the household. Like, you don't, it's not like you're the type of person who missed days of work just for, to blow off a day of work. Like, you're a hardworking dude, and it goes to show that, yes, even with a single family household, if it's a strong woman, she can raise a strong man.
Yeah,
Is it the optimal situation? No, but it can happen. Um,
absolutely.
it can definitely happen. So, it's 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 knowing you, and a lot of people don't really get to know the true you. They get to see the surface you, and they make their assumptions off of that. But like the surface, you're like, dude, you're so much deeper than the surface that a lot of people ever get to know. And luckily, like your second two guests on the show really knew the deeper you. You know what I'm saying? They were able to, talk about that on the show. Like, kind of show who the deeper you is. But yeah, like, it's not always a bad thing to have a single family household, but
Right.
just, um for any lady who's listening, who does happen to be in a single family household, it's having that same iron fist, not allowing your child to run rampant just because you're raising them by yourself. And still letting your young men know, and your young women know that your dad's word is still important.
Right.
um like, I've had the experience of knowing your mom over the years, and your mom ain't no joke. Like,
Right.
your mom has said stuff to us, me and you, and I'm like, yo, I'm glad she's all the way down in Virginia. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No doubt. And thank you for for seeing that, man. And again, it's really one of those things where I try to take pieces that are of the people that I idolize, the good parts, and
Hmm.
put them in one place, right? And saying that I was able to do it without doing it the crazy way, or ended up in a whole bunch of crazy situations for no reason, right? Um, and I owe that all to my mom, and the system and the surrounding cousins and aunties that looked out for me. Um, so I'm a product of those people, and so I always feel like if I'm not representing them well, I'm not going to represent myself well. So I can't be out here um, portraying something that I'm not. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not gonna act like I'm a street dude. I've never been a street dude, but one thing I will say is don't test me. I got these hands, bro.
Right, right.
um,
That part. That part.
um, but all right, so let's switch gears a second, man.
Okay.
And I want to ask you about this because even though you had a strong male figure in your household, your role models, who did you idolize growing up? Like, who did you look to? Because it's a twofold question. All right, so who were your idols or your the people that you had role models, and what did you like about them, and what did you take from them? Is the question.
So okay, so even so, putting my dad aside for a second, because my
Mm-hmm.
dad was instrumental. My older brother, um,
Smooth.
yeah, my brother Smooth. So growing up with him, he would always say things to me in a way where it would push me further. So he would intentionally tell me I can't do something because he knew I would always try to prove him wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if he told me that I was messing up in school and I was going to fail, I would always make sure to kind of bring that back.
Right.
My brother was a hard worker, and he got that from my dad. Like it was passed down from my dad to him to me
Mm-hmm.
that you go out every single day and you work. My brother was he was a hustler, but not in the illegal sense.
Right.
He was a hustler that would basically manipulate any situation to work for his greater good.
Right.
Um, like my brother never graduated high school, but if you ever looked at his resume would basically say that he graduated high school, went to one of the best colleges. He would always be able to create that transcript or something to show to an employer that made it seem that he did that. He never graduated high school. My brother used to work directly for, I'm going to say this unfortunately, he used to work directly for Donald Trump.
Oh,
Um,
Jesus.
he got a job that he got paid very well
Can
at
you blurt,
age.
can you blurt that out later on?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If he only knew.
Right.
But he got a very prestigious position at that company,
Mm-hmm.
and he never qualified to get it in the first place. But he always taught me that if you can't do it, find a way to make people believe you've done it.
Right. Right.
Um, and so that was definitely one of my idols. Later on in life, as I got older, and I realized that a lot of the things that I was losing from my dad,
Mm-hmm.
I had somebody come into my life and reinforce, because he was also military, and that's one of my brothers, Jeff.
Right.
He was also prior military, and he came later on in my life and reinforced everything that I was starting to forget about, everything that I was starting to lose.
Mm-hmm.
He reinforced that to me, and fortunately enough for me, um, I joined the masonry. I became a mason, a
Mm-hmm.
Freemason,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of those older guys, they basically gravitated towards, even though I was, not far from their age, but they would always gravitate to go, you know what, let's pull you this way because I see you drifting a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I see you drifting off. Let's pull you back into all of the things that you've learned and are losing.
Mm.
Um, so shout out to Freemasons around the world. And this is like one of the things that I admire about you, and I keep telling you, like, you're a Freemason at heart. Um, you are probably the best father figure for a lot of children who don't have father figures in their life, and I've seen you do it on a many occasions. And I know people are gonna be like, "Yo, is he just gonna be bigging him up the whole show?" But when you see somebody doing something positive, unfortunately for black men, the positive isn't really expound on. It's only the things that we do wrong. So when I see a black man doing the right thing on this planet, I'm gonna be the first one to congratulate him and say, "Yo, keep doing what you're doing." I've seen you. I've seen so many kids gravitate towards you, kids who don't have the father in the household, kids who might have a father in the household who may not be that stand-up man.
Yeah.
And we don't, as black men, what we do wrong is so expound on.
Mm-hmm.
And what we do right is like, okay, hey, you did that right. Good job.
Yeah, you're supposed to do that right. Yeah,
Right. You're supposed to do that right.
that's what you're supposed to do.
Like they don't understand that where we come from, where we grew up at,
Right.
there was so many opportunities for us to go the wrong direction. So
Absolutely.
please applaud the fact that I didn't. I
Right.
know I'm not supposed to go to jail, but still applaud the fact that I didn't. You know,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like it's not what I'm supposed to do, but I had every opportunity to do it.
Exactly.
And I chose not to. So and that's definitely, as we speak about role models and people who are stepping into people's lives and making differences, that does not get applauded enough. And
I
I've
agree.
I've had some role models who've come and I've grabbed me. My one of my closest friends growing up, Fred, he took a group of young men and kept them with him. Like he would basically keep us so close under his wing
Mm-hmm.
that every time we tried to do something wrong or we tried to drift away, he'd pull us back. And he wouldn't pull us back as that iron fist type of pullback,
Mm-hmm.
but he would go, hey, I'm getting ready to go here. I know you're getting ready to go hang out and do this,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm getting ready to go across town and we're gonna go hit laser tag or something like that. How about you come do that instead of going to them streets?
Right.
He spent, I'm talking thousands of dollars over the years just to make sure that we stayed out the streets. And some of us, even myself, we still filtered into the streets on many occasions.
Right.
But there were so many times that he would say, hey, I'm getting ready to drive out to Jersey. I know you don't have a household with a car, and I know you don't get to really drive. How about you drive my car and drive me out to Jersey? Who gonna turn that down?
Right.
As a
Right.
dude who grows up in a household without a car,
Right.
you're like, wait, I could drive your car?
You're telling me I could drive?
You know what I'm saying? I could drive it? All right, cool. Let's go to Jersey. And some
Mm-hmm.
of the things that he did for me saved my life on many occasions because had I stayed in the hood that day, I might have caught that gunshot that went off.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like you would ask me, like I have many people who have stepped into my life on just the right moment to change my direction.
Yeah, and I think that's the part that is again less applauded, and basically just kind of swept under the rug. And the things that you talked about for me are the things that I saw in other people. Right? Again, I was taking pieces. Always be good to kids. Always be good to the elderly. Always be good to the people that look out for you. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And even the people that can't be good to you at the point, they're going to remember that you were good to them, right?
Right.
So and I think that's why I always try to be genuinely open to any situation where I can impact somebody, and that's why I do a lot of the things that I do. And again, um, I try to keep everybody on an even playing field, especially the people that can't help the situations they're in. So I thank you for pointing that out. And again, it's one of those things. Again, it doesn't get talked about enough because a lot of people don't know about it because it goes undocumented and it's not for everybody to see. But I do it because it's in me, right? So I'll answer that question too. I had a bunch of people that kept me from going down that route as well. So like there were a couple of coaches, when I was playing ball, like baseball, football, even wrestling, all my coaches kept me grounded when I was at school. They were like, hey, bro, if you want to play tonight, you might make sure you got that report done for the week or whatever.
Right.
And, I grew up in an era of the hard knocks basically for all sports. Like, if you're a player that wanted to be a star, you had to earn it. You
Right.
weren't gonna just be a person that got out for name value because I mean there was a long line of people before me that had the same last name as me that played at the same school that did a lot of great things, but they were, hey, bruh, you got to earn this spot because your name is only going to get you so far. It's going to get you on the radar of the coaches, but you got to go out there and do your thing. And so that part, kind of really resonated with me. And then also just the mentorship part of it. So I met a couple of guys when I was growing up. They were Masons. They were in fraternities. All of these things, and I gravitated towards those people because I knew that they had a value system, right? That they can share. It's like, okay, look, this is how the world sees you. This is how you need the world. This is how you need to function in the world, right? Now, did I always take the right path? No, I will be the first to admit that. I used to try to take shortcuts because I knew I was smarter than most people. So I would take shortcuts and then be like, damn, I should have went the long way instead of going the short way, right? Um, and I value the things that I learned over the years, and again, the people that I've met over the years, I value every lesson they've taught. But if you ever notice, I don't really hang with a lot of younger cats, right? Um, and this comes from the cigar culture that I like so much, right? I gravitated toward the guys that were sitting in the lounge, smoking a cigar, shooting the shit, talking about what was going on in the world, right?
Right.
That's how I learned a lot of the stuff that I probably would have not learned in the history book because they had these stories from the generations before. So I would always find my way to the cigar lounge, even in my early 20s. So like my early 20s, my mom hates them. My mom hates the fact that I smoke cigars. She's like, that big stinking cigar, mom. You had you had uncles that smoke cigars all the time and chew tobacco. Come on, relax. um, but I'm like, like to that point, I mean, I always stayed in a place where I could pick a piece of knowledge from these people, and I value all of that. So those were my type of role models. Like I didn't look at them for the flash. I looked at them for the substance, right? And I think that's what most people miss. When you have a person that gives you something, it doesn't always have to be financial. It doesn't always have to be material. You have to take the substance that person is giving you. And I think that's what's missing now because manhood has been oh man, there's so many man code violations right now that we are things that we have to kind of. I think we're going to close out with the man code violations and the man code and what's supposed to happen, what ain't supposed to happen. We'll close out with that at the end of the show. But again, I definitely appreciate the way that you told your story because most people don't hear that part of your story.
Right.
Again, and we talk about the things that they see on surface value. They see you as this loud, braggadocious New Yorker, but you're really just a cool dude that like you've lived lives in different places, right? You tell your stories about New York, you tell your stories about Kentucky, now you can tell your stories about PA and Maryland. All of those stories make you a unique individual because you had to see the streets. You had to see somebody lost in the streets. You had to see those things to make you, right?
Right.
And I'll never forget the day we were sitting in the parking lot at a restaurant I won't name. We were in the parking lot. It was me, you, and another one of our good friends, right? And we were sitting there, and you said something to the effect of, "Hey, man, look, you're a young dude. You're out here. You got the world in front of you. You got this thing. You have all this energy. You have all these things that you want to do. Go do it." And when you said it, I was like, "What?" I thought it was the liquor talking at the time because I was like, "This dude is tripping." And I was like, "Wait a minute, he makes sense." Because I had all these things in my head that I needed to get out. I needed to go do this. I needed to go do that. So that came in full circle when we ended up starting our first company together with AOLI Media, and and that thing really kind of was one of those things that kept us together over the years, but it also kept us keeping each other honest on the things that we were doing, right?
Right. Always.
And that's the thing that I definitely appreciate you as my brother because of it. Because I could have been on a totally different path had we not even had that conversation. You know what I mean? Like this is a combination of a couple of things. So I wanted to give you your flowers again beforehand, before it's too late, and also say thank you, thank you for believing in the brother, because people like you make it easy for me to keep doing the things that I do every day. You know, and again, the things that go unnoticed by anybody else, but you see it and other people see it, they just won't acknowledge it, right? So I'm not here for the accolades, though. I'm here to make a difference for each person that I can touch. One person, 10 people, 100 people, I don't care.
So the one thing that the one slogan that I've always, or motto that I've always kept over the years is iron sharpens iron.
For sure.
Um,
For sure.
you don't take a knife and rub it against cotton and expect that knife to be sharper.
Not at
You,
all.
you're gonna rub that knife up against another knife, or a sharpening board to get that knife to be sharper.
Facts.
One of the good things about hanging out with you, um, and even another good friend that was sitting in the parking lot with us that day. Um, and you know what? We could say his name, G.
Yeah.
We were sitting there, and we would always push each other on things that everybody else around us at work didn't think mattered. Um, like the fact that from day one we sat there and had this competition about who's going to wear the best tie tomorrow, type of situation, and had us buying ties. Now you talking about two dudes from the street, one dude who had a foot in the street, that was you, um who are basically every single day, even when the company said, you know what, you all don't have to dress up every day, we was like, nah,
Nah.
because if I stop dressing up, he's gonna keep dressing up,
Right.
and I'm sitting there going, mm-mm. Tomorrow he's still gonna come in with a tie. He gonna come in with a tie. Mm-mm. I'm still gonna wear my tie, my dress shirt tomorrow, even though the company says you don't need it. And that kind of sharpened us to constantly want to be not better than everybody else around us, but shine
Yeah.
better than everybody else around us.
Yeah.
Um, we always stepped in every single day except for Fridays.
Yep.
And that was basically our own created dress down day.
Yep.
Like we created that as our own dress down day. That was the only day that we dressed down.
Right.
But we would walk in every day and we would get out our cars early in the morning and we look across the parking lot. Yeah, he
Right.
dressed up too. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Man, those
but
are the
we
days, brother.
but we got to continue to show young men around us, even young men that we may not really touch directly,
Hmm.
but when they see us, they should say, okay, you know what? He's doing this and he doesn't have to touch drugs. He's doing this and he doesn't have to be out there being negative or being foolish.
Right.
Every day that a young man sees me or a young woman sees me, I want them to say, you know what? Um, that guy right there, he still shows me what a man should be. And I fall short sometimes.
We all do.
Um,
We all do.
and I'm reminded right now of and I would be remiss if I did not mention this guy's place in my life. He's always been my big brother. He was one of my brother's best closest friends,
Hmm.
and his name is Chris. And Chris has been in my life since I was 5 years old. Um, he used to walk me to school when on the days my mother didn't feel like getting up and taking me out to school. He
Hmm.
would stop by the house and pick me up, and he would drop me off at school on his way to school. But he taught me a lot of, it's not always what the world says about you that matters. It's what you say about yourself that matters.
Right.
The world can tell you that you're a piece of shit asshole, that it's never going to go anywhere. Unt- but until you start believing it, it's not true.
Absolutely.
Once you believe that what the world says about me is a true fact, that's when you've lost yourself.
Yeah. I like the way that you preface that by telling that story, because at the end of the day, your words are the ones that matter to you,
Right.
because you have to present yourself every day. You have to will yourself to get up to provide for yourself and for people that might need your help and things of that nature. So um, he had a very, very profound insight on life at that point too. So I definitely appreciate Chris for that. Um, all right, so we're getting close to the time where we normally, cut it off, but I'm going to switch gears and have a little fun at the end of the show here. So um, we're talking about man code. As a man, there are certain
Know the
things,
code.
right?
Know
As a
the code.
man, know the code. This is something we started with our original show. We had some guys on there that would come on and do these the man code, know the code, or the guy code joint. But we switching it now. We're gonna make it the man code, and we're gonna say you still need to know the code, right?
Right.
So here's the thing that's been driving me nuts, and I don't know why, and it doesn't drive me nuts. It's just weird to me, like
Right.
hoochie daddy shorts. All right, so I went to an event, and I was taking pictures at the event, and I was like, man, are these shorts getting shorter as they come in? What the fuck is going on? And I'm taking pictures. If most people don't know, I'm a photographer by trade in my personal life, but I'm looking and like, oh man, so is that a man code violation if you got on the hoochie daddy shorts and ain't no women around?
First of all, women around or not, hoochie daddy shorts is a man code violation. The last time that men wore short shorts was in the NBA way back when. Once the shorts came down to your knee, they need to stay there.
Yeah.
And it's like they wear them just short enough to where their damn genitals is almost showing.
Yeah.
Nah, it's man code violation. Flag on the field.
All right. So I said that because there was a trending post on Twitter and Instagram, and it was like hashtag hoochie daddy shorts or whatever. And I didn't look at it, but like a lot of the ladies in my timeline would repost it, and I'm like, where the rest of this material at, bro? Like what? I'm not comfortable walking out the house with something that looks like just a pair of boxer drawers on. Like I'm not gonna just walk out the house with like boxer briefs on. That's not even.
So I'll say this, right. And this is where just talking about manhood, and we go get back into the lighter side of this, but growing up, a hoochie was a female. So the fact that you're calling somebody a hoochie daddy has blurred, the lines have become so blurred that men are okay with being called a female father.
No, and no.
Man code violation.
All right. So number 2, the merce. If I have to tell you what it is,
No, I know what a merce is.
You know what a merce is, right?
Once again, blurred lines. No. Okay, so to give the proper respect to the LGBTQ community, homosexual men do carry merces, and it fits who you are. A heterosexual man with a merce, you're trying to be who they are. Stop it. Let them have their lane and stay in yours.
Okay. All right. So number 3. Is it okay to have beef with a man that's dating your baby mother if y'all not together? Is it a man code violation to do?
It is a man code violation. What's the beef about? If you're just beefing with him because he's with her, then you're showing a lot of jealousy and you're violating a lot of man codes.
I like the way you
Let her live her life and move on with yours.
I like the way you preface that. Okay. Mm. Those are the three I had, right? Was that three?
That was pretty.
Okay. So, oh shit. I lost you for a second there, Chief. You still there? Can you hear
I'm
me?
still here. Hold on. We got the chat popping. I didn't even realize. Oh,
Can you see the chat?
yeah. I just opened it up. We were so engulfed in the conversation that hi.
Hey, Shan, what's up?
What's going on, Shannon? Um
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Man. That's the Hoochie Daddy Show compliment right there. I knew it. Only Shane would do that, yo. Let me see. It says you're simply showing her that you're not over her. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. I guess you had the controls of the chat because I couldn't see it. So
yeah. So I looked over and I saw that the chat had a number over it. It was lighting up. So I was like, hold on. I missed the whole chat.
Only you, Shane. Only you. But like real talk, man, like literally, we're sitting here and we are basically talking about manhood and how it resonates to something that we should be doing every day, right? It was fun to close that out with the man code violations. So you keep that for a rainy day, I'll keep my vibe killers. You keep the man code, and
yeah.
Maybe one day I'll show up on your show again and actually, because technically I was your first guest, right?
You definitely was. You opened up the premiere with me. We did the damn thing on that show. But your show gives us the ability to show that versatility. On my show, yes, I am a fool and I'm a bona fide asshole. But hold on, what's your question?
What's the question?
So I'll wait for that question to be asked. But this shows the versatility and I thank you for allowing me to really show my other side, show that more serious side. I've had thoughts about doing a different show, another show, to show my more serious side, and doing this show right here really pushes me to want to do that even more because there is a side of me that has some honest to God true thoughts. On my show, I talk about the not only just the lighter side, but the more sexual side of life.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
You threw me for a loop when I first went on there. Why is it talked about when black men wear hoochie daddy shorts, but white men wear them for many years? Okay, one thing about this. Let me go ahead and give you a little bit of knowledge there, sis. All right, listen. We are built very differently. Right? We're built very differently. We are built to sustain certain things. We have thighs, we have nice butts. They don't have any of those things. So they can wear the fucking little hoochie daddy shorts because it doesn't do anything. Like you never saw it as a trend when they were doing it. So it only started trending when you started seeing fit black dudes doing it. And I consider myself kind of fit. I'm not tip-top shape as I used to be. But if I started working out, I would not be able to fit those shorts. So I would never even think about wearing them. So prime example, I went to Miami and I bought a pair of shrimp trunks. I was like, please do not be hoochie daddy shorts. Please do that. And I put them on. I was like, oh, thank you. They meet the need. But to answer your question,
right.
I mean, yeah.
Let's leave the 70s in the 70s, though.
Okay, let's leave the 70s in the 70s. Like this new age stuff, man. Bringing back old trends. We got to start bringing up new trends, guys. We got to create our own trends. That's what I'm saying.
When I was a young man, when I was a young man, I remember those shorts. I had a pair with the stripe down the side, and it was nothing. Like we didn't even think about it. Yes, I had the shorts.
I almost spit my drink out, man. Don't do that.
you had the stripe that came around the leg and it went down the side. I had those shorts.
All right, so transparent moment, guys. Transparent moment. My mother used to dress us in those kind of shorts. There's a picture of me and my brother with a pair of those shorts on. But we were kids, so we were safe. You would not catch me as a man right now with those shorts on. I'm sorry. If my shorts don't meet my knees when I'm standing, I'm not wearing them. I'm sorry.
and also
And that's without me
for
sagging. Because I don't sag. I don't sag
I
my
don't,
pants.
yeah, I don't sag my pants.
I wear a belt and I wear my belt honestly. Okay, guys.
um,
This has been
it's
fun though, bro. Listen.
this right here has is much needed. Um, I'm gonna sit back for a second. I'm gonna let you close out your show, but this was definitely needed. I definitely got to come back.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, we probably got a lot more topics we need to talk about. And we probably need to talk about when you launched the other show and all those things as well. So the way I'll close out tonight though is I have this super dope author and poet coming next week. Man, okay, I gotta preface it like this. The ladies have been representing with me. Like the ladies have been holding me down. I appreciate you, ladies, and you guys see everything and you give me an honest opinion and feedback, and I really appreciate that. My lady guests have been holding it down. So Levi, CB, and the next one is gonna probably represent a little bit more because she's on the younger side of the generation and she's doing things out here. And I mean, like, we need to have people like that out there. So I can't wait till you guys meet her and actually get to talk to her a little bit. So again, all month basically, I've been dominated by ladies at this point, and it's weird because I was like, all right, I'm gonna have a month where it's probably gonna be all ladies, and then I was like, Don's gonna break up the monotony. So um, I definitely appreciate that. And again, tune in next week. If you can't catch us live, man, catch us on the replay. Make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube. Again, it is Quiet Storm with Mr. Q on YouTube, and the links in my bio on my Instagram. Also, if you know anybody that is an indie artist or an independent artist, underground artist that has recorded tracks and things of that nature already, kind of put together, and they want to get some exposure, we're here. So we have a DJ on deck. We also have me, who likes to interview people. So I love to talk. If you didn't notice, that's why I have a podcast. So independent artists, make sure you let them know they can reach out to us at ilegacymedia3@gmail.com, or just go to the website at ilegacymedia.com. And also check out our social platforms. We got Facebook groups. We have all 3 IG pages. So I want to shout out the threesome show from last night. It was great. My man held it down. Thank you, sir. Thank you for not really being that person on this show. Thank you so much. um, um, and I gotta say that tomorrow is going to be a more than warm welcome back to True Weight with a different spin to it. So I definitely want you guys to tune in for True Weight next tomorrow night. And again, man, iLegacy Media is where it's at. We don't hate on anybody. It's enough airtime for everybody. There's enough shine for everybody. So I love y'all. Definitely appreciate y'all. And again, we are iLegacy Media. And if you like the Q Smooth shirts, the Quiet Storm shirts here, you like it with Mr. Q, let me know. I can get you one. I got a white one that I'm gonna wear next week. That joke gonna be fire. So anyway, shout out to my shirt designer and my logo people. I definitely appreciate that. And man, like with everything, man, we always want to show love to other people. So if you have an idea for a podcast yourself, if you want to advertise with iLegacy Media, please reach out to us at the email address again, ilegacymedia3@gmail.com. Go to our website. We have QR codes on there. We have advertising packages that we're going to be showing out for you guys. And even if it's a local business that you know about that needs a little bit of exposure, pushing it for a different area. If you know somebody that has products that can ship, send them our way. We reach a wide net of people from PA to Maryland to Virginia to Carolina to Florida. So we're trying to take this thing worldwide, man. We're trying to do a little bit more outreach for other things. So if you know anything about any mentorship opportunities and things of that nature, let me know. Again, send us that information. Back to school is coming up. I know a lot of people have a lot of giveaways and stuff. We want to show show out for Our Legacy Media. So if we can do anything to donate anything, let us know. And again, with that being said, we have been Mr. Q and my brother DJ Teflon Dunn. I appreciate you, sir. And again, we are Our Legacy Media. And again, please check the technique, man. We here and we only got one way to go, bro. What's that?
All the way up.
Nothing can stop me. I'm all the way up.